If you're looking for the perfect carp rig for any fishing situation and any hook bait, then I think I've got the perfect rig for you. It's a little bit tricky to tie, but once you have tied it up, you can change the hook, so it should last you for several sessions. If you like the sound of that, then stay tuned. I'm going to run you through all the components that you need and then show you quickly how to tie it and how to use it with any hook bait. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fishing content, and also leave a thumbs up and comment below with any questions you've got. So here it is, it's the Slip D multi-combi rig. It's kind of a combination of a couple of different things, and I've got it here with a wafter, but you can use it for pop-ups or bottom baits or even maggots or anything like that, so it really covers every situation you might come across. So I'm just going to run you through all the components, and then we're going to run through how we tie it up, and then at the end I'm going to give you a couple of little tips to get the most from the rig. And I'll give you a little bit of underwater footage to see what it looks like on the bottom with a pop-up or with a wafter. So firstly, you're going to need some hook link materials, and as this is a combi rig, you've got two different types of materials. One is a semi-stiff monofilament type of material, and the other one is a supple braid. So we've got an Amnesia there in £20 for the stiffer material, and then we've got some angling iron supple braid, that's the Tough Lex, £20. Next thing you'll need is some size 4 DuraPoint chod hooks. These are angling iron again, and I've got them in a barbed pattern. You want some angling iron large liner liners. That just forms your kicker, but also allows you to change the hook. And you want some angling iron micro hook ring swivels. Other things you'll need are a pair of scissors, some bait floss, a lighter and a baiting needle. Finally, you'll want a hook bait of your choice. On the right there, I've got some SS1 wafters. They come in pink and white, depending on what your preference is. And also, I've got some SS1 pop-ups there, so I can demonstrate to you how this can work with a pop-up rig as well. But you can also use it with bottom baits, which I'll show you later on. So first you're going to take your Amnesia and remove approximately 12 inches from the spool. And then cut that off with your scissors. Next, you want to take your supple braid and remove about 6 inches from the spool. Right, with your Amnesia, you want to fold it over at the end like that to form a loop, but we're not actually tying a loop, we're just leaving it folded. We're going to be tying an Albright knot, which is a really strong way to connect supple braid to a stiffer material. So I've also got my supple material there folded over the same as the Amnesia, so both ends are folded over in a bit of a loop. Next you want to thread your supple braid through the loop of your stiff material and pull it down till you get roughly about 2 inches of material left. Then you're going to pinch it where they join, and then take your supple braid and wrap it around the two pieces of Amnesia 6 times. when you get to that point, you want to take the supple braid and go back down towards the join just a couple of times, which helps secure it. And then lastly, you're going to thread those tag ends back through the same way that you came on the loop in the Amnesia. Once you get to that point, then you simply pull it all together. So you're going to take all the ends and just bed it down nicely. It's important you take time to get this right and make sure it's nice and tight, because obviously that could be a weak point if it's not tightened down properly. So give it a really good pull like this. A little tip here is if you use your nails, you can just pinch behind the braid there and just slide it down, which helps bed it all down on itself. So that's your finished knot there, nice and tidy. I'm just going to trim off those tag ends. Don't forget to trim off your tag end of your Amnesia as well. Now on the other end of your Amnesia, this is the bit that's going to attach to your quick clip on your lead setup. You want to just tie a figure of 8 loop knot. So all I've done is folded it over, and then I'm going to make an overhand loop in the material, twist that loop which wraps it around, and then pull that end through there, and you can see we've got a nice figure of 8 there. So pull that down, wet it with a little bit of saliva, and pull that tight on itself. Trim the tag end off that, and that is your boom section done. So you've got a figure of 8 loop at one end, an Albright knot connecting it to a loop of supple braid on the other end. Now I'm going to show you how you attach your hook, and then we'll put the hook bait on. So the next job is to thread on our liner. So I've got that on the baiting needle there, so it's easy to thread. Just put the loop onto the hook of the needle and then push that down over and onto there. Next you want to take your hook and thread the loop of your supple braid through the hook on the point side to come out the back of the hook. Like that. Then get your hook ring swivel, and through the ring you're going to pass that onto your loop of supple braid as well. That hook's sharp. And then you're going to pass the loop of braid over the hook and the point, which will secure the hook ring swivel on there, and then your kicker comes over the eye of the hook, and then you just want to pull down the loop through the eye a little bit until the top of the loop is kind of level with the barb there, and that's your kind of slip D effect. But also, because we haven't used shrink tube, we've used a kicker. You can, when that hook gets blunt after a fish or whatever, or even if you know you hit a bit of gravel on the way in, you can just take the kicker off and replace the hook. So that's the hook section there, and you can see already that turns really well in the palm. It's a really good rig this for hooking and catching the fish. So we're going to put the bait on now. So you get some bait floss and you thread it through your hook ring swivel there. So thread the pop up onto your floss like that. Cut the floss off, and then you want to just blob it down. Like that. And just flatten it on your lighter. There we go, so we've got the hook bait on there. That's an orange SS1 pop-up from Pure Bait Concepts. And now all we need to do is just add some putty to counterbalance the pop-up, and also just a little bit in the middle as well, just to help it lay flat on the bottom. So what I like to do is just flatten the putty down in my hand, like this. Push the hook link into it, and then mould it around and roll it between your fingers. Now you might have to have a few goes at this to find out how much putty you need to balance your pop-up, because all pop-ups are different. But once you've worked it out, you know, you can roughly get the right amount every time. And actually you can leave it on your rig between sessions, so you don't need to keep taking it off. So we'll just put another bit about halfway along, just so it lays flat on the bottom, and it helps it kick away from the lead a little bit as well. Otherwise that middle section can sort of loop up. So there it is, guys. We've got putty in the middle there and a pop-up on, and that's your finished rig. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like on the bottom, and also what the wafter looks like on the bottom, and I'll talk to you a little bit about using it with bottom baits, and then I'll give you a couple of little tweaks just to make sure it's working the best it can for you. So with any rig where you've got supple material, I like to make the bit nearest the hook extra supple by rubbing it between my fingers and just loosening up the fibres. And what that does is it sort of, it softens the material and loosens the fibres so that it's not so tightly woven. And that allows that section to be extra supple, so that it can turn a lot easier in the carp's mouth when it gets picked up. Also, because we've got the stiff material here, it's like a boom. You want that to be nice and straight and nice and rigid. So it pays to steam that, which just helps stop tangles, helps it kick away from the lead when the bait drops down through the water, and just gives you perfect presentation every time. And lastly, the loop that you tie at the other end wants to be a decent length, perhaps 2 to 3 inches, which adds as an anti-tangle aid really. So I'm not using an anti-tangle sleeve with this, I'm just using a little bit of silicone over a quick change link on the swivel to connect it to the rib. And the longer loop just gives you that boom, which helps kick it away from the lead and stop any tangles. So that's the finished rig there, the Slip D multi-combi rig. Not something I've invented myself. I believe Mark Bryant possibly came up with it, and Darryl Peck sort of made it famous really. He's used it to good effect on Wellington Country Park and things like that. As I said before, you can use it with any hook bait. You can use it with balanced tiger nuts if you want. You can use bottom baits with it as well. Now, the thing for bottom baits is you want the weight of those heavy bottom baits nearer to the point if you can. So what you want to do is slide your D up so it's right at the top of the curve there, just before it goes around the bend of the hook. And that means that when the bait is picked up, the weight of the baits will help pull that hook point down into the bottom of the carp's mouth. So it's adjustable for any bait really. And as I've shown you, you can use it with pop-ups, you can use it with wafters or bottom baits or anything you choose really. Just got to adjust it to suit your situation. If you're fishing on a soft bottom, I'd recommend a helicopter rig so that the lead can sink in and this will still lay on top. But on a hard bottom, I've used it with inlines and I've used it with lead clips as well. So it really is a versatile rig. You can use it with anything in any situation. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. This rig has done well for me so far this year. I've been using this with a couple of other rigs to good effect. Not yet lost a fish on it, so that's a good sign of a good rig, and the hook holds have been really good as well. So yeah, if you've liked the video, guys, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got lots more content coming this year. I'm trying to keep it going as much as I can for you with all my other work that I'm doing for all the companies that I work for now. But yeah, it's all about you guys really, so I'm going to keep it going for you. So give us a thumbs up on the video, leave us a comment if there's any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.